ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. الصلوات. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضية ولا فلقا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلقا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. الصلوات. فقال جبرائيل: يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض ليكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم، قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله العلي الأعلى. يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضية ولا فلقا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلقا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تعزنوا لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا من وحي الله، إنه نعم، قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لي بأن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. الصلوات. صلي على محمد وعجل. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واستفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جم من شيئتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيئتنا ورب القابة. الصلوات. صلى على محمد ومحمد. فقال علي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واستفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جم من شيئتنا ومحبينا وفيه محموم إلا وفرج الله همه. إلهي ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه إليه، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته إليه. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيئتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. السلوى. Let us all together recite Dua al-Faraj. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرزك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. خدایا خدایا طائن انقلاب مہدی عزت خمینی محافظات بفرما، آمین یا رب العالمین. سلوات. سورۃ المبارکہ الفاتحہ.
محمد ذکر غم حسین سے محفل سجی رہی، گل ہو گیا چراغ مگر روشنی رہی. اکبر کے بعد زیست میں کیا دل کشی رہی. لیلا تمام عمر یہی سوچتی رہی. خیمے ہٹائے گئے مگر عباس نامدار کی تیوری چڑھی رہی، اور اشکے غم حسین کا ٹوٹا نہ سلسلہ. رومال فاطمہ میں ہمیشہ نمی رہی. ذکر غم حسین سے محفل سجی رہی. محمد والی محمد صلوات بستر سے تھر تھرا کے اٹھی تھام کر عصا قبر نبی پہ فاتح آخری پڑھا. ہمسایوں کے گھر گئی رخصت کو اور کہا لو صاحب و بہل کرو، لو صاحب و بہل کرو پوچھے ذاتی تم سبوں کو میرے شور و شین سے کل فاطمہ نہ ہو، کل فاطمہ نہ ہوئے گی تم سونا چین. ہمسائی کے حقوق سے آگاہ ہے جہاں، لوگوں میرے یتیموں سے رہنا نگہباں. اب ساتھ ان کا اور تمہارا ہے ہم کہاں. بن ماں کی ہوتی ہے میری دکھیاری بے، بن ماں کی ہوتی ہے میری دکھیاری بے. بچپن پا اپنے بچوں کے آنسو بہاتی ہوں. تم پر حسن حسین، تم پر حسن حسین کو میں رو کر کبھی حسن کو گلے سے لگا لیا. آغوش میں حسین کو گاہیں بٹھا لیا. رخصت کیا کسی کو بلا لیا. پڑھنے کے واسطے کبھی کہتی تھی گاہ بچوں سے منہ اپنا موڑ کے کل سونے گھر میں سونا ہے بستی کو، کل سونے گھر میں سونا ہے بستی کو. سن لو وصیتیں میری اس وقت یا امام، فضا سے میرے بعد عدالت سے لینا کام. ہوشیار فاطمہ کی امانت سے صبح ہو شام. دو بیٹیاں دو بیٹے ہیں دو بیٹیاں دو بیٹے ہیں بسر خدا. میں نے بڑے دکھوں سے یہ سب بچے پالے ہیں. حق کے حوالے تمہیں، حق کے حوالے تمہیں تمہارے حق ہے. آرزو کے قبر میں مجھ کو حسن لٹائے. شبیر میرے مردے کا منہ قبلہ کو پھرائے. پھر خود کہا نہیں نہیں بچے ہیں ڈر نہ جائے. ناگاہ کھیلتے ہوئے دونوں یتیم چھاتی لگا کے بولی کے لو ہم تو مرتے ہیں تم سے سلوک دیکھے گا لوگ. तुमसे सुलूक देखिए ये कहती थी कि गश्ते दिया मौत का पयाम हुजरे से निकले रोते हुए अक़रबा तमाम तरतीबे नाश के लिए बाहर गए इमाम ज़हरा ने या मुसल्ले पे अपना किया लिखा है बस नमाज इशा की अदा हुई और गुल उठा के बिनते नबी की और गुल उठा के बिनते नबी की क़ज़ा हुई
Once again, I would like to thank each and every one of you for making it out here in this cold weather, and inshallah the place will heat up soon. It's a little bit cold in here, but we really appreciate all your help, especially those of you who have contributed towards these events. May you get jaza from Rasul Khuda, and please recite aloud salawat. Can I request you guys to just come up a little bit closer? I think you'll get a little warmer too if you huddle up a little. Thank you. Thank you for moving forward. I appreciate that. We're very fortunate that esteemed scholar Abbas Panju is here from UK to enlighten us with his knowledge. We are very grateful to him, and may Allah increase in his tawfiqat. Please recite aloud salawat and welcome him to the mimbar. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Just a quick announcement, inshallah, tomorrow after the majlis we will be having a Q&A session.
If we can begin by reciting Surah Al-Fatiha for all our mu'mineen and mu'minat who have passed away, and in particular for the young child by the name Zakaria who was killed in Hijaz a couple of days ago. Rahimallahu man qara'a Surah Al-Mubarakat Al-Fatiha. Bismillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله بارئ الخلائق الأجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء حبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ثم الصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما ولي الله الحجة ابن الحسن صاحب الأمر والزمان اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الحكيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنه لقرآن مبين في كتاب مكنون لا يمسه إلا المطهرون صدق الله العلي العظيم وآمنا به نوروا مجالسكم بذكر محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أحبائي, yesterday we analyzed to a certain extent the strategic value of the land of Fadak that was granted by Allah Azza wa Jal to Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen. And before that, we had a bit of a brief look at some of the economic principles of governance that have been left behind for us as teachings by Ahlul Bayt, and what an Islamic government is supposed to do from an economic perspective as per the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, and the role that Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen had within the government of Rasulullah through the land of Fadak. And this took us to the point of understanding the azamah of Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen, in that land of Fadak denoted that Sayyidat Zahra was a waliyah. She had wilayat on that ummah, on the ummah. Waliyatul Amr. She had a divine authority granted to her within this deen. If we understand this, tonight's lecture, ya ahibba'i, is on understanding the darajah and understanding the azamah of Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen. You find that after the event of Saqifa, Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen goes to Masjidun Nabawi and she delivers this khutbah azim known as the khutbah Fadakiyah. And inshallah tomorrow we shall analyze one part of this khutbah from these treasures of ma'rifah that she has left behind for us. The entire deen is summarized within this khutbah of Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen. But in any case, she comes into the masjid and she delivers a khutbah. And within this khutbah, she says to the people, "I'lamu anni Fatima." She's standing in the masjid, addressing the Ansar and the Muhajirin. How she addressed them, all this inshallah we shall have a little bit of detail tomorrow. O people, i'lamu, know, have knowledge that I am Fatima and my father is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Tayyib, a question over here. Ya ikhwani, why did Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen make this statement in the masjid? Why did she say to the people, know that I am Fatima and my father is Rasulullah? What did she mean by this statement? Did anybody in the masjid doubt Sayyidah Zahra's relationship with Rasulullah? No. Even the children of Medina knew that this is Sayyidah Fatima and this is her father Rasulullah. It wasn't that her identity was majhul. It's not that her identity was not known. It was not that she was an anonymous person or a stranger in Medina such that she had to be identified by her name or by her lineage. No. Everybody knew her. There was no doubt that this is Sayyidah Zahra and she's the daughter of Rasulullah. But still, Sayyidah Zahra announced within the masjid, "I'lamu anni Fatima." Know that I am Fatima. Why did she say this? What was meant by this statement? There was no doubt. You take, for example, we have a respected brother, Ammar Haidar. Individual, you all know him. Been in the community with you, and there's no doubt you know him. Imagine Brother Ammar Haidar comes here and he says to you people who you have grown up with him and live him and meet him, know that I am Ammar Haidar, son of, for example, Haji Fulan. You already know him. So why this insistence on knowing who he is? From here we understand that Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen was requesting from the people, rather was instructing the people, not from the aspect of this is my lineage and this is my identity. I'lamu anni Fatima. Know that I am Fatima. Have ilm that I am Fatima. And when I am in the masjid speaking to you about the land of Fadak, know what is the azamat, know what is the daraja of this Fatima who is talking to you. She is talking to them. Do not look at me as a normal human being and a normal Muslim from the Muslimin. I am that Fatima who Allah has given a high daraja. The words of Ahlul Bayt are eternal. When she said, "I'lamu anni Fatima," this is a nida. This is a call to all Muslims in every day and age. Struggle and learn to know who is Fatima. We have to know what is the azama, what is the greatness of this woman, what is the ma'rifah of Fatima, the reality of this woman, which in itself, in its entirety, is impossible for you and I to know. Because in one of the hadith narrated by the Ahlul Bayt, Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad as-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, it says, "Innaha, indeed, summiyat Fatima," she was named Fatima, لِأَنَّ الْخَلْقِ فُتِمُوا عَنْ مَعْرِفَتِهَا. She is known and she is named Fatima because the entire khalq, futimu, one of the meanings of the word Fatima is derived from the word Fatima. And the Fatima, yani fi'l majhul, referring back to out of respect for Allah Azza wa Jal. Futimu, yani what is concealed. So Fatima, the concealed one. He says she was named Fatima, the concealed one, because the entire khalq has been concealed from her true ma'rifah. And whatever we know from the fada'il of Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen is but a drop in the ocean of this great lady. Today, ya ahibba'i, based on this one statement of Sayyidat Zahra in her khutbah when she cried out to the people, "I'lamu anni Fatima," I want to show you from the Quran and from the Hadith what is the darajah of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra from within the Quran and from within the Hadith. And it is important for us to understand the greatness of this woman. And for us, through this, we begin to appreciate the greatness of this majlis which Intum, respected brothers and sisters, are attending. Do not take the majlis of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra to be something very light. La, you have come in the barga of this woman who has the highest of statuses, whose fada'il are mentioned within the Quran. For having said this, we begin by analyzing the status of Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen using Quran and Hadith. And this is from the command of Rasulullah, that when it comes to your issues of deen, that you rely and you take your deen from both these aspects, Quran and Ahlul Bayt. Hadith is Sharif mentioned by the Holy Prophet of Islam himself, where he says, "Inni tarikun fikum al-thiqlain, kitabullahi wa itrati ahla bayti, ma in tamassaktum bihima lan tadhillu ba'di abada." Rasulullah says, "Indeed, I leave behind for you two weighty things. The Quran and my Ahlul Bayt, so long as you hold on to them, you shall never go astray. And Bain al-Qawsayn, between brackets, Tara ya ahibba'i, that this hadith, hadith al-Thakalain, where Rasulullah says, Inni tarikun fikum al-Thiklain, kitabullah wa itrati, is a hadith which is unanimously agreed upon by scholars of the Amma and the Khassa. Quran wa itrati Ahlul Bayt is mentioned even in the books of the Mukhalifin. If you were to do a research, you would find that there are 30 primary texts written by the ulama of the Sunnah that mention Quran and Ahlul Bayt as opposed to Quran wa Sunnati. You refer back to Sahih Muslim himself. You find that within the within Sahih Muslim himself, in the narration of Hadith al-Thakalain, it is mentioned Kitabullah wa itrati. Kitabullah wa Sunnati is an innovation and a tahrif that came later on. In any case, فَإِحْنَا, we are commanded to be upon this khat of Quran and of Hadith, and we shall use both to understand the status of Sayyidatina Nisa al-Alameen. In order to move forward in this journey, we have a number of muqaddimat, a number of introductions that we put together in order to reach to this goal, the daraja of Sayyidah Zahra. And the goal over here is to understand the Sayyidah Zahra, the status of Sayyidah Zahra through the ilm of Sayyidah Zahra, which is mentioned within the Quran. You find that as a beginning introduction, we have been commanded to seek ilm and to always be in a state where we are progressing from a perspective of knowledge, which is why you have Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, where he states within the hadith, and this is found in Kitab al-Kafi al-Sharif, one of the greatest books and one of the most authentic books to be written by our ulama in Ghaybat al-Sughra, Sheikh al-Kulayni rahmatullah alayh, where he narrates this hadith on authority. He lists this hadith narrated on authority of the Holy Prophet, where it is said, Talabul ilm faridatun ala kulli muslimin wa muslimah. Seeking knowledge is an obligation, farida. Farida yani a sort of a wajibat, from the wajibat. Like how you have salat is wajib and the sawm is wajib, and that's per the conditions on the khums and the hijab, hajj wajib. Same way seeking knowledge is also wajib. The validity of all our a'mal is based on knowledge. The levels of knowledge that each one is required to attain is different as per number of criteria. But there are certain basic elements of knowledge that we are all commanded, and it is mafrood, expected, that we seek knowledge in these things. Number one, usuluddin, tawheed, adala, nabuwa, imama, and ma'ad, the afterlife. Are we convinced fully that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists? Are we fully convinced on the nabuwa or the risala of Rasulullah? How is it that you are able to prove the existence of an individual who existed 1400 years ago that you have never seen and never met? What is your proof when it comes to imamah? Can I prove the imamat of Amirul Mu'mineen from the Quran or no? By ilm. Ma'ad. What is the proof that there exists in front of us and after this dunya another realm of existence that is vast, from alam al-barzakh to alam al-raj'ah, and then yawmul qiyamah, and what happens after yawmul qiyamah from Jannah and Jahannam? How convinced are we? Particularly in this day and age, when we are surrounded in this storm of atheistic cultures and beliefs, and we interact with them. The decisions that we make in our life can only be governed if we are fully convinced that there is an akhirah and another life waiting for us. What is the proof for this? In issues of fiqh, for example, this is usuluddin. In issues of fiqh, there are certain ahkam fiqhiyya in furu'uddin which each and every one of us are supposed to be familiar with. Wajibat, when it comes to salat, for example, what makes your salat valid, what makes your salat invalid. Wudu, person doesn't need to become mujtahid or marja taqleed in that he knows everything. La, basic ahkam that are relevant to you needs to be studied, needs to be memorized, needs to be understood. Those ahkam fiqhiyya that affect us on a daily basis, even in our work. For example, I'm a doctor. For example, every day in my life, in my interaction with my patients, I will come across certain situations where my actions need to be defined through fiqh. How to deal, for example, with a patient, for example, who seeks an abortion. Enter as a doctor, Shi'i, follower of Ahlul Bayt. What is the hukum fiqhi when it comes to this? You're an investor, investing in shares and stocks. There could be a portfolio of shares. Enter as an investor in which there are companies, for example, who deal or trade in those goods and services that may not be halal. Enter, can you buy shares in them or no? Tara mushkila. Because the money that you earn from this is your rizq. And what you put in your belly and what you feed your wives and your children with them, you are mas'ool, you are questionable in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rizq halal. Ahkam, hukum shar'i, fiqhi. Things that affect me, I have to have knowledge over them. Our shabab, our youth. The fiqh of social media. On your Twitter, on your Instagram. Yabe, is it halal or haram to post a certain picture of yourself or of others? What is the hukum shar'i on communicating with a non-mahram in a certain way? Halal or haram? Ahkam fiqhiyya that affect us on a daily basis, which we need to be aware of. So long as we have knowledge, and this is the importance, knowledge, ya ahibba'i, is empowerment. Empowerment and protection. Empowerment against shaitan and protection against sin. Because so long as you have that knowledge, you will always remain within the boundaries of obedience towards Allah and never come out of this boundary into those parameters of disobedience. What protects you between Jannah and Jahannam? What defines your entry and what is the line between this Jannah and Jahannam? Your ilm. And who you take this ilm from is even more important. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Tayyib. So ilm is an important aspect of our lives. And this entire deen of Islam is built on the institution of ilm. فَإِنْتَ, when you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you for a purpose and has not created you without any goal. He has created you for a certain purpose. And in order for you to fulfill the purpose of your existence, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent for us guides. Divinely selected guides from amongst the Anbiya and the A'imma. And these selected prophets and these Imams, by Allah, they have been selected by Allah in order to guide mankind towards haqq, Sahih? For if the Anbiya have been selected by Allah in order to guide mankind, that means that these Anbiya and these A'imma have also been equipped with ilm in order to guide mankind. A person who does not have ilm cannot guide somebody towards haqq, cannot guide somebody towards the true path, towards the right path, unless he himself has ilm and he himself is already guided towards the right path. Which is why we say the hujjiyah, the authority of the anbiya and of the a'imma over the entire people is based on their ilm. The prophet or the imam is the most knowledgeable person existing at that time, and hence they have ilm of everything that matters at that particular point in time. And there is darajat of ilm given to every different prophet. Different prophets have different darajat of ilm. But the point over here is that this ilm that is there of the anbiya and the awliya or the a'imma or the awsiya, successors of the holy prophet, their ilm is different from mine and your ilm. In the field of logic, mantiq, they say that the ilm is of two types. You have ilm that is kasabi or iktisabi, and you have ilm which is ilm ladunni. You have that knowledge which is gained through conventional learning, where you have a teacher who teaches you and gives you knowledge which you didn't know, or you read from books. You have to resort to another source in order to learn and to gain knowledge. And then you have ilmul ladunni. Ilmul ladunni is when you are not taught by anybody else, but you seek your knowledge from Allah, or Allah Azza wa Jal provides this knowledge to you directly. And this is the knowledge of the Anbiya. And even outside of the Anbiya, one such example of an individual who was granted knowledge by Allah directly, Siddiqat al-Sughra, Sayyidah Zainab al-Kubra alayha salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And this is what Imam Sajjad clarifies in Kufa on the 12th of Muharram, when Ahlul Bayt, who are taken as prisoners, reach Kufa, because the historians tell us within the Maqtal, say the Shuhada was Shaheed on the Asr of Yawm al-Ashura. And as soon as he became Shaheed, they trampled on his body and they beheaded Imam al-Hussein. The historians mention that on that night, same Asr of Ashura, Umar ibn Sa'ad al-La'in sent the blessed head of Imam al-Hussein to Kufa straight away on the Asr of Ashura. And according to a number of historians, it was taken by Khuli al-La'in. So the head of Imam al-Hussein was taken to Kufa, where Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad al-La'in was seated, even before Ahlul Bayt as prisoners were taken to Kufa. They were taken to Kufa on the 11th of Muharram. Yani the 10th day, Asr, Imam al-Hussein is martyred. They trample over his body, they behead him. Straight away at the time after Asr, Khuli al-La'in is sent with the head of Imam al-Hussein to Kufa. That night, which we call Sham-e Ghariban, the tents were burnt and the women were left alone within the deserts of Karbala. The next day, the 12th of Muharram, what happened? Umar ibn Sa'ad al-La'in recites Salat al-Mayyit over all those, over those who were killed from his army. And they left the body of Imam al-Hussein and the 72 companions unburied without a ghusl and a kafan. After Dhuhr, on the 11th of Muharram, Ahlul Bayt were tied in chains and were taken from Karbala to Kufa. They reached Kufa on the 12th of Muharram. On the 12th of Muharram, Sayyidah Zainab delivers a khutbah, and over here Imam Sajjad alayhi salam says to Sayyidah Zainab, Inti alhamdulillah alima ghair mu'allama. وَفَهِمَ غَيْرْ مُفَحَّمَ. Oh my aunt, Alhamdulillah, you are an alima غير mu'allama, a scholar who has not been taught by any other scholar. Meaning what? An ilm that has come from Allah Azza wa Jal directly. Tayyib. So this is ilm ladunni. Ilm ladunni is granted to the anbiya and the awsiya and the awliya. Knowledge from Allah directly towards them. If we understand this, that ilm is given to the anbiya and the awliya by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is also important for us to understand that the ilm given to the different anbiya is of different levels. Every nabi is given a certain level of ilm. Now, inshallah, we'll see from the Quran what is the level of ilm given to some of the anbiya, and compare it to the level of ilm that is granted to Ahlul Bayt. And from this you will be able to understand what is the daraja and the status of Sayyidah Zahra alayhi salam. All this with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Tayyib, we begin because we said that our manhaj is Quran and Ahlul Bayt. Quran and Ahlul Bayt. Which is why even sometimes, Bain al-Qawsayn, many times things come in your mind in the majlis. Now I don't know, inshallah, antum mu'mineen and the muwalin over here in Houston, in Texas. I don't know if this exists here or not, but many parts of the world you go, you find that even from amongst us, the Shia, when you bring for them a hadith in regards to Fadail Ahlul Bayt, they say, Lala, Baba, we don't believe in hadith. We don't want hadith. Show us from the Quran. This is a mentality which is wrong. This is an understanding which is wrong. Rasulullah said, I leave behind for you Quran and Ahlul Bayt. Didn't say, I leave for you only the Quran. In fact, this is the words of the founding fathers of Saqifa. Which is why on his deathbed, when Rasulullah said, bring for me a pen and a paper, what did he say? Hasbuna kitabullah. So the book, Quran, is enough for us. We don't need the hadith, wala Shia. This is why it is important even as us as Shia, that we don't start to follow the deen of these people of Saqifa who said, Hasbuna kitab Allah. Rasulullah said Quran and hadith together. Tayyib. Within the Quran, we want to understand the ilm of the anbiya. And we use this to get to the ilm of Sayyidat Nisa'il Alamin. Inshallah, we are all together, no? Inshallah. Understanding the level of the ilm that was given to Nabi Musa. Look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. The verse of the Quran is from Surah Al-A'raf, verse number 145. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَكَتَبْنَا لَهُ فِي الْأَلْوَاحِ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مَوْعِظَةً وَتَفْصِيلًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ فَخُذْهَا بِقُوَّةٍ. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the ilm that is given to Nabi Musa inside of the Torah. The Torah is a book of guidance. And the book of guidance, if it is a book of guidance, meaning what? It is a book of ilm. And there is ilm that is given to Nabi Musa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and we gave him the alwah. Alwah is plural of the word tablet, tablets. Yani we gave him the stone tablets, yani the Torah. And we gave him the Torah. What is inside of the Torah? وَكَتَبْنَا لَهُ فِي الْأَلْوَاحِ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مَوْعِظَةً. Inside of this Torah, the word that is the point of istidlal is the word min, from. We gave him inside of the Torah, and inside of the Torah, there is guidance, there is a part of guidance for everything that is needed. Yani min kulli shay'in maw'idatin. Kulli shay, everything. Min, yani a part of guidance. Inside of the Injil, we have given Nabi Musa a part of guidance. Partial ilm. Yani, the ilm that was there in the Torah, which was sufficient to be the Sharia, the governing Sharia at the time of Bani Israel, for which Nabi Musa was the Nabi, the ilm that was inside of the Torah, was it the ilm of everything and anything within the Kaun? La. The Quran says it was a part of the ilm. Part of the ilm that is necessary to give people guidance, to give them hikmah, and to give them maw'idah, guidance. Part of that ilm, we put it inside of the Torah. Because this partial ilm was sufficient for the people of Bani Israel. Tayyib. So we understand the ilm of Nabi Musa in regards to the Torah. Was it ilm in its entirety, or was it ilm that was partial? Ilm that was partial. Ahsantu. Now you come to another verse of the Quran that talks about the ilm in the Injil. And keep these conclusions in your mind. So the ilm of Nabi Musa is ilm that is partial. Tayyib. Look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in regards to the ilm of Nabi Isa. In Surah Al-Zukhruf, verse number 63. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَلَمَّا جَاءَ عِيسَى بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ قال قد جئتكم بالحكمة ولأبين لكم بعض الذي تختلفون فيه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says within the Quran, and when Isa, Nabiullah Isa, when Isa came with the bayinat, bayinat plural of bayan, bayan meaning the clear proof. When Nabi Isa came with the clear proof, yani the Injil, when he came with the Injil, he said to the people, O people, I have come to you with the hikmah. Hikmah, yani wisdom. Wisdom emanates from ilm. You cannot have wisdom without ilm. He says, I have come to you with wisdom within the Injil, yani with knowledge within the Injil, with this knowledge that is there in the Injil, this hikmat which is there inside of the Injil. Ya Nabi Allah Isa, is this hikmah or knowledge of everything, or is it for some things? Nabi Isa himself says, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself says in the Quran, لِأُبَيِّن لَكُمْ, such that I may state for you بَعْضَ الَّذِي تَخْتَلِفُونَ فِيهِ, to give you some of this hikmah in order to guide you. Yani partial ilm. But this partial ilm was sufficient to form the Sharia of Nabi Isa at that time. It was sufficient. It doesn't mean that the deen was naqis. Doesn't mean that the deen of Nabi Musa was naqis. La, it was sufficient for that time. But the ilm and the hikmah that was given to them was partial. It wasn't all-encompassing. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying within the Quran. Tayyib. So the ilm of Nabi Musa is ilm which is partial. The ilm of Nabi Isa is ilm which is partial. Tayyib. Now we come to the Quran. What is the Quran? Does the Quran have knowledge that is in its totality or knowledge that is partial? We come and we look the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the Quran in Surah Al-Ma'idah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ بِالْحَقِّ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to Rasulullah. This is Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse number 48. وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ بِالْحَقِّ مصدقا لما بين يدي من الكتاب ومهيمنا عليه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Rasulullah, and we have revealed upon you the kitab. Yani we have revealed upon you the Quran. Kitab yani Quran. Tayyib. What is the sifat? What are the properties of this Quran? وأنزلنا إليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يدي من الكتاب ومهيمنا عليه. This Quran that you have, that we have revealed to you, Ya Rasulullah, this is a Quran that verifies and attests everything from the previous books. مصدقا لما بين يدي من الكتاب. من الكتاب يعني مصدقا, it is an attestation and an authentication. This Quran, the ilm inside of this Quran is an attestation and an authentication of the ilm that was there in all the other previous books. Not only that, وَمُحَيْمِنًا عَلَيْهِ, مُحَيْمِنًا عَلَيْهِ, meaning that the ilm within this Quran is an all-inclusive ilm that protects the ilm, is all-encompassing and governing over the ilm within the previous books, yani the Injil and the Tawrat and the Zabur. So we understand that when it comes to ilm, the ilm which is within the Quran is all-encompassing and includes the ilm of the Tawrat and the Injil. So in regards to ilm, which of the divine books have more ilm? The Quran or the Injil? Quran, because Allah is saying that the Quran encompasses the knowledge of the Injil. Which book has more knowledge, the Quran or the Tawrat? The Quran, because the Quran has the knowledge of the Tawrat and the Injil together, all in one. Tayyib. So the Quran as a revealed book is more encompassing in terms of ilm as per the previous books. This is from what is we understood within the Quran. Tayyib. If we understand this, we move forward. What is the sifat of this Quran? Not only does the Quran have knowledge, not only does it contain ilm of the previous books, but it has even more than that. Look at what Allah subhanahu wa says within the Quran. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Suratul Waqi'ah. Starting Suratul Waqi'ah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Innahu la Quranun Kareem. Quranun Kareem. I think in the beginning of the khutbah I may have said Quranun Mubin. It's actually Quranun Kareem. Innahu la Quranun Kareem. This indeed is the graceful Quran. This Quran, which is Kareem. Fi kitabim maknoon. This Quran that is revealed, which is Kareem, which is Azim, is a Quran which is within the Kitab al-Maknoon. This Quran, the knowledge within the Quran is found within another book, which is the Kitab al-Maknoon. Tayyib, what is the Kitab Maknoon? The ulama and the mufassirin come forward and say Kitab al-Maknoon is another term that is given to the Lawh al-Mahfuz. The Lawh al-Mahfuz is an expression of this ilm which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed within the arsh, in the alam of the malakut. You can think a spiritual headquarters, where central headquarters, where all the ilm of the unknown, of the ghaib, and the ilm of the entire kawn, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed it within this Lawhil Mahfuz, in the alam of the malakut. And it is from this alam of the malakut that the Quran was revealed upon Rasulullah. So Allah is saying that this is the Quran which is Kareem. This Quran which has knowledge, in which this Quran which encompasses the knowledge of the Injil, which encompasses the knowledge of the Tawrat. This Quran which is all encompassing and an authentication of the books of the past. This Quran has been revealed or is a part of this Lawhil Mahfuz. And this Lawhil Mahfuz has ilm of everything. Allah has put ilm of the entire kawn and the ilm of all the ghaib within this lawh. Ilm ilm of everything. Who has access to this? Allah subhanahu, the verse continues, Surah Al-Waqi'ah. La yamussuhu illa al-mutahharun. La yamussuhu illa al-mutahharun. This ilm of the Quran, which includes the ilm of the Torah and the Injil and the Shari'ahs of the past, together with this Quran which is in the Lawh al-Mahfuz, that has ilm of everything in the ghaib and everything on the kawn. This ilm, nobody has access to it except the mutahharun, except for those people who are tahir. If you are tahir, a person who is tahir is known as mutahhar. And there is mutahhir, the one who is not only pure but also makes you pure. Mutahhar, yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this part of Surah Al-Waqi'ah that this great knowledge of everything that is there, nobody has access to it except the mutahharun, those people who are pure. So I come and I ask myself, Tayyib, who are these mutahharun? Who are these people who are tahir? Who are these people who are pure? I come back to Surah Al-Ahzab within the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Ahlul Bayt, who is tathir, who are full of tahara. They are the mutahharun, who have knowledge of everything within the ghaib. I came and I asked the mufassirin of the Quran, Yabe, who was part of this Ahlul Bayt? Who is this Ahlul Bayt whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have purified from all sorts of rijs, from all sort of najasa, and as a result of this tahara they have knowledge of everything in the ghaib, including the knowledge of the books of the past. You refer back to the books of the Amma from the Ahl Sunnah. You find inside of Sahih Muslim, he narrates a hadith on authority of Aisha, where she says this revelation of this verse, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Rasulullah placed Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Bibi Sayyida Zahra and Amirul Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib underneath the kisa, and then this verse of Tathir was revealed. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Sahih Muslim, and refer back to the tafasir of Suyuti, Durr al-Manthur, one of the greatest ulama, non-Shia from the Amma. He states that in this verse of Tathir, there were 5 people who were underneath the kisa. Tayyib. Underneath the kisa is who? You have Rasulullah, you have Imam Hassan, you have Imam Hussein, you have Amirul Mu'minin, and you have Sayyida Fatima Zahra, meaning that Sayyida Fatima Zahra is from those people who have been purified by Allah. Because she is purified from Allah, she is from those who are the mutahharun. Who are the mutahharun? Those who have knowledge of the Quran and the kitabin maknoon, meaning that the ilm of Sayyida Fatima Zahra, as per the Quran and as per the Hadith, the ilm of Sayyida Fatima Zahra is greater than the ilm of Nabi Musa. The ilm of Sayyida Fatima Zahra is greater than the ilm of Nabi Isa. Ahibbai, Musa and Isa are from the Anbiya, who are the Ulul Azam, meaning that the ilm of Fatima is greater than the ilm of the Anbiya of the Ulul Azam, meaning that Fatima is the Hujjatullah over the Anbiya of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. A second loud salawat in honor of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra. This is the darajah of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra. the ilm of Sayyidah Fatima is greater than the ilm of the Anbiya. And because her ilm is greater than the ilm of the Anbiya, her hujjiyah is greater than the hujjiyah of the Anbiya. This is why Sayyidah Zahra said, "I'lamu anni Fatima," in the masjid. Know that I am Fatima. This Fatima, whose ilm is greater than the ilm of the Anbiya, whose hujjiyat is over the hujjiyat of the Anbiya. I'll give you one last example. I don't know what time I started, so I don't know how much time I have remaining. Do we have time, inshallah? With salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I'll give you one more example, because today we even have quite a bit of masa'ib to recite. One more example from the Quran, and then we will come to the hadith. From the Quran, it shows you that the maqam of Sayyidah Zahra is greater than the maqam of some of the Anbiya. Surah Maryam, verse number 6. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Verse talks about Nabi Zakaria doing dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him for a child. And that child is Nabi Yahya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or Allah states the dua of Nabi Zakaria. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Fahabli, this is the end of verse number 5. Fahabli min ladunka waliya. Ya Allah, gift me from yourself a son. Yarithuni wa yarith min ali Ya'qub. He will inherit me and he will inherit from Ya'qub. Subhanallah. In Saqifa, when they took away Fadak, they said to Sayyidah Zahra, the first one, he said to Sayyidah Zahra, the jibt of this ummah, that I heard Rasulullah say that we, the ma'shar of the Anbiya, do not leave behind any inheritance. And over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that Yahya inherited from Nabi Zakaria. In fact, Nabi Zakaria is doing dua to Allah, Ya Allah, grant me a son. Why? Yarithuni, so that he can inherit me. So the hadith of this Khalifa of Saqifa is against the teachings of the Quran, contradicts the Quran. Alani akhaf, somebody thinks that we're promoting a sectarian tone. Abadan la. No, we're promoting ilm and haqq in a